Moses, one of the greatest prophets in history. He heard God in the burning bush that was not consumed. He led a people out of Egypt. He parted the sea. He walked in the desert for 40 years. He met on Mount Sinai. He spoke with God face to face. The Bible says this clearly: the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, just as a man speaks to his friend, face to face. But then Moses asked for something very big. I want to see your glory. And God said, you cannot see my face, for no human can see me and live. Wait, just a moment ago, it said, just as one speaks face to face. Now it says, you cannot see my face? These two sentences are in the same book, just a few lines apart. And then God said this, you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. The back of God. Think about this sentence. How can an infinite, bodiless, omnipresent being have a back? And what did Moses actually see? Today, we are pursuing this question. To understand this scene, one needs to look at the context of that day. Exodus chapter 33. The golden calf disaster had just occurred. Moses was on Mount Sinai. 40 days. He was receiving the commandments from God. He was writing on stone tablets. Down below, the people of Israel were waiting. But while they were waiting, they did something. They cast a golden calf, and they danced before it. Here is our God who brought us out of Egypt, they said. Moses came down from the mountain. He saw the tablets. He smashed them in anger. The wrath of God was great. And Moses pleaded with God for his own people. If you will not forgive them, blot me out of your book. God forgave. But at that moment, Moses felt something very deep. Everything was hung in a very delicate balance. This people could slip again, and Moses felt alone. And from that loneliness, he asked this, show me your ways. I want to know you better. And then he added this, show me your face. God's answer is clear. You cannot see my face, for no human can see me and live. This sentence has occupied theologians for centuries. Why? Because it gives birth to a very big question. Why can God not be seen? First interpretation, God is too big. You cannot fit the sun inside a light bulb. A limited human eye cannot bear an infinite being. This interpretation is appealing. But the question is, then what was shown to Moses? A limited part of the limitless? Second interpretation, God's presence is burning. Some theologians view this as a physical reality. The full presence of God carries such an intense energy that the human body cannot withstand it. This interpretation is interesting because when Moses came down from the mountain, his face was shining. It shone so brightly that people were afraid to look, and Moses put a veil over his face. If even a reflection of God is this powerful, what would direct contact be like? Third interpretation, the word face carries a different meaning. In Hebrew, the word panim means both face and presence. So you cannot see my face could also mean you cannot comprehend my full essence. This interpretation is very deep. To see God's face means to fully understand him, to fully comprehend him, and no human mind can bear that. Now we come to the most mysterious part of the scene. God tells Moses this, look, there is a place near me. Stand on the rock. When my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. Think about this scene. God puts Moses in a cleft of the rock. He covers him with his hand. He passes by, the hand is removed, and Moses sees his back. Three things are very interesting in this scene. First, the hand of God. How can a bodiless, infinite being have a hand? This expression shows the limit of trying to describe the infinite with finite language. Second, the cleft of the rock. Moses is protected. He is covered. It is as if Moses must be protected from the very presence of God. Third, the passing. God passes by. He does not stop. He passes. And what happens as he passes? Exodus chapter 34 describes this. As God passes by, he proclaims his own name. The Lord, the Lord, a merciful and gracious God, slow to anger and abounding in love and faithfulness. So Moses did not see God's face, but he heard God's voice, and that voice defined itself. Now we come to the most difficult question. Just a moment ago, I mentioned Exodus 33:11. The Lord spoke with Moses face to face. But in the 20th verse of the same chapter, you cannot see my face. These two sentences seem contradictory to each other. How do theologians explain this contradiction? First explanation, face to face is an idiom. Speaking face to face describes direct, intimate communication in every language. Even in Turkish, you say, we spoke face to face, but it does not always literally mean looking at each other's faces while speaking. That is, this expression describes the closeness of the relationship between God and Moses, not physical face-to-face contact. Second explanation, it speaks of a different level of contact. Moses experienced God in a certain form, at a certain level, but seeing his face is a much deeper, much closer contact. The difference between seeing someone and reaching the essence of their existence. Third explanation, the texts come from different traditions. In academic theology, this contradiction is addressed within the framework of the documentary hypothesis. According to this, some parts of the Bible were written and compiled by different communities in different periods. This explanation is not theological, but academic. But its existence deepens this question even further. After this scene, something very interesting happened. Moses came down from the mountain, and people began to run away from him because Moses' face was shining. The word used in the Hebrew text is karan, to emit rays, to shine. It was such a powerful light that Aaron and the people were afraid to approach him. What did Moses do? He put a veil over his face, and every time he went to speak with God, he would remove the veil, and when he returned, he would put it on again. Now, think about this. Moses could not see God's face, but he saw God's back, and even seeing that back sent him back with a light that people were afraid to look at. What would have happened if he had seen his full face? Maybe the answer is the human body could not bear it. And maybe this was what God meant when he said, "You cannot see my face." Not wrath, not punishment, protection. Exodus 33. A man walked with God for years. He heard his voice. He received his commandments. He carried his people. And in the end, he asked for this: show me your face. And God said, no, you cannot live. But then he added, but you shall see my back. This scene has made people think for thousands of years, because perhaps the message here is this: you cannot fully understand God. You cannot comprehend him entirely. You cannot see him completely, but you can see his trace. You can see where he has passed, the print he left behind. And maybe this is the exact definition of faith. Not the face, the back, not the presence, the trace, not what is going, but what has already passed. What do you think Moses actually saw that day? Write it in the comments. In the next video, we will discuss the topic, Elijah was taken to heaven in a chariot of fire. What did we actually see? Subscribe now so you don't miss it.